Hello, welcome to another video on the Scouring Early Access. Today's match is going to be a 4 versus 4 match with me, the Bertha Gamer, and my allies, Anubur Khan, Ali Jubel, and Steve 6. On the enemy team, it's going to be Aldaisio, Sparrow, Tilla, and Dinchi Code. Over here I spawn as the yellow orc player. Not pretty much going to be doing the warrior build order. Over here my orange ally, Ali Jubel. Looks like he might be doing a similar build order, making a few swordsmen. It does look like he's making a sawmill. Over here on the Cyan player, Anubur Khan, playing as the orcs. Looks like he's building a barracks in a very slow logging camp, so he's probably going to be making a lot of warriors. Over here, the white orc player, Steve 6. Looks like he's making his production buildings a little slower. But from what I see here, he's probably going to be making a few warriors, because he's not going to have enough wood to make any archers. So yeah, that's why he puts more workers to make more warriors. Anyways, over here, that first enemy, Dinchi Code, playing as a black orcs. Looks like he just made a meat shield warrior. And now he's going to be mass producing a lot of archers. And next to him, the blue orc player, Aldaisio. Looks like he's doing a warrior build order, but he did transfer some workers to chop some wood, so it's probably going to be making a few more archers. And over here, the purple player, Attila, playing his orcs. Looks like he did a warrior build order for all the potions they can use to help him with warriors to stay alive a little longer. Now you have a final enemy, Sparrow, playing as orcs. And Azaki also did a similar build order to purple. He's doing all the warriors, but he doesn't use potions, I guess. Or not as early as the purple player likes to use them. You can see everyone's clearing some goblins, or killing some neutrals. Get some levels on their units. And of course, just getting free XP by shooting some wolves here is also pretty efficient. And yes, Mr. Blue decided to kill his own wolves. But of course, these middle parts are usually cleared first before anyone is going to be going out on the map to kill an outpost or even trying to clear their corner. Man, I was pretty much just making warriors, clearing some bandits, and I was thinking of killing a few trolls here. But I wasn't really sure what game script was on, so I was thinking of being somewhat close to my main base. That way I wouldn't be surprised by any goblin wave. So here I clear a troll. And I clear a second one, but of course I see that it's beginning of the night. So I was trying to go back to try and see if there would be any more goblins spawning, but of course I find out that it's actually undead skeleton mode, so you don't really need to leave that many units at home. So that's why I ran back to the middle to kill the other 2 trolls here. Looks like the bike bear's making a smithy, so it's probably thinking making a few cannons. The blue player has a small mix of units, a few warriors, a few archers. Purple player has all the warriors, just producing even more. The red player decides to make a forge, so he's probably thinking making a few cannons. Mr. Orange also making a smithy, so probably thinking making a few cannons as well. And it does look like the orange player did make a lot more archers. Over here, find the blue player. Try to scare him away. But of course I do munch on his archers. And here I find out that there's 3 different enemy players on top, so that was a little suspicious, because I wasn't sure if they're actually going to be doing a, I guess, coordinated attack towards the orange player here. So I was trying to maybe take their attention here, so they would be a little annoyed and they wouldn't be attacking my ally as, I guess, fast as they could have. And here, of course, just being annoying, picking off a few units, and I guess just grabbing their attention. You can see here, Purple's making another base. I already made a second expansion, or the first expansion. So I'm going to be getting a little bit more gold. Yeah, I made a launcher cave and a forge, so I guess I plan to just skip to tier 3. Because that's the 2 buildings you need, a forge and a muncher cave, to get a tier 3 started. That way I could get the rage or warlocks on the map a little faster. But getting cannons is also a very good idea if you think you're going to be rushed. It's better to have some kind of units to defend yourself with. You see the sign player made a few cannons. It's getting the artillery. Even clearing this corner here, which would allow my allies to make their expansions here as well. This is usually the time, I guess. By the end of the first night, people usually clear these corners here. Bike player is trying to clear his corner, and I'm already clearing the corner on my side of the map. And of course, these wood lines allow you to somewhat get in here very easily after chopping them down. At least you can get a extra base a little easier. Looks like over here, the red player is trying to potentially attack the orange player, or just annoy him with the artillery ability. Over here, purple is clearing the corner. So this way you can get some extra gold, and of course have the opportunity to have more space for buildings, because you do somewhat run out of space in your main base eventually. You can see purple is making a forge, so might be making a few cannons, or maybe the shield ability. Here you see the sign player try to attack the black player a little bit, but the blue player did kind of tilt the balance and made the sign player run home. And here, of course, I did see that my allies were attacking here, so might as well try to annoy the people on top here, so they can't really use this time to also attack my orange ally. So I can just keep them, I guess, engaged or annoyed. I don't know a word for it. So they would be distracted here. You're making a third base, maybe the munchers. So it's relatively slow. Here the artillery war between orange and red, bombarding each other. Of course, you can see where the enemies are shooting from, because their cannons are revealed. So it's somewhat of a cat and mouse kind of game, where you use your artillery and then try to reposition your cannons so the enemy wouldn't be able to bombard you. But I guess here you can see red is just mostly brute forcing his way, just killing more of orange's cannons. So red's just gonna have more cannons overall. And here on the bottom, you can see Cyan player. It's getting a bit overwhelmed by the blue and black player, double teaming him here. Which can feel a little annoying, especially when you fight against heads, because you need a lot of cannons to deal with them relatively effectively. Hero's getting a rage ability, preparing to attack the players here, because I was trying to somewhat bait them in, so I could use my munchers to run them down a little bit. Here you can see I begin trying to fight them here, trying to run down their warriors, try and somehow use my advantage to push them around, try and somewhat win here. But just right now, my munchers finally get their rage ability researched, and at this point I'm able to just destroy a big amount of units here, able to run down these cannons, and even the orange player is helping me here with his artillery. At this point the red player doesn't really have much left, and the purple player lost a lot, so can't really save him here. So that's why the blue player flies across the map to try and save his ally here. And of course you can see here a lot of cannons. You can kind of scare away the heads, which allows it to hold a position really well. Of course, here on the bottom, the Cyan player tried to attack, but the black player kind of killed most of his warriors, because he used his artillery ability to directly destroy the warriors with a splash of the artillery. Here, Cyan doesn't really have much of an army or anything left, just a few workers. Here, the red player surrenders because I think I killed all of his workers in his town hall, so he couldn't really do much at this point. So that's why he decides to surrender. If your white tries to get the attention of a black player here, so you wouldn't be going into the base of the Cyan player, just finishing him off. But of course, he's not really achieving much himself. Maybe potentially trying to destroy this barracks. Here you can see the blue player actually has a good amount of heads now. We can potentially harass very effectively if he flies behind our lines. But not before the white player loses a good amount of warriors here. And I guess somehow the black player does manage to save his barracks. And over here, I'll just building more production. Another barracks. Another barracks. I have about 4 barracks now. And it's beginning of the night, so it's an easy way to take care of us skeletons here. Just make a few archers, put them on your roof. And this way you're gonna have very minimal issues with your skeletons. So this way, this whole corner of the map is defended with a single archer. So there's also a viable tactic. Here I made another base in the middle. My ally is already here. And of course, holding the middle is pretty important because the gold mines are rich gold mines, so they're gonna run out very slowly. So it's important to hold this position to then attack from the middle. So I have a big army of launchers, and I made a lot of archers because I saw blue had a lot of heads here, and I didn't really feel like making a lot of cannons. So I just decided to make a lot of archers, and I would use the Warlocks with their Death Cloud ability to poison the heads. And then when the heads be on low health, I just send in my group of archers to finish them off. And of course here, I tried to send them here to try and save my cyan ally, or teal. He had a few buildings left, but just as I was here to save him, he does decide to surrender. I guess it is what it is. You can see how easily the flying heads get pushed away because of a Death Cloud ability, making them very vulnerable to the minimal archer damage. But of course here, I guess I had some issues with food. I guess I was just probably cooking too much archer production. I didn't really keep up with all my supply or food, you could say. Over here you can see the black and the blue player are beginning to try and attack the white player now. But the white player did manage to squeeze out a few archers from the black player. But of course I did see some kind of units here, so tried to regroup my army to try and help my ally here against the black player. You can see it's relatively easy to take care of heads if you have a relatively big amount of warlocks. I think it's due to these little pathways. Having auto cannons can be a very effective strategy on this map because of how easy it is to, I guess, bombard a specific chokehold or choke point. Here, of course, I have a lot of archers, a lot of munchers, and after making a whole lot more farms, still suffering with food. Which is kind of pretty annoying. So it is recommended to make a lot of single farmer farms to help out your supply issue. And up here we're gonna see I was trying to attack the bike bar here, but scan and positioning was a little too good, and so I just kind of threw away my whole army of munchers here, kind of pointlessly, but I was kind of desperate because my food was very low. But of course, right as we dealt with the rest of these archers here, enemies begin attacking the middle. And of course, just not that long ago, I threw away my whole muncher army, so I couldn't really defend this middle position anymore. So I was trying to regroup and make a force of munchers here before trying to retaliate against this army of munchers. My ally is still here, trying to defend the middle. But here I did send some Warlocks to try and poison the munchers. This way it'll be easier to deal with them. There you go, you can see and just kill all the munchers with a combo of a death cloud and then the lifesteal of the Warlocks. Even more of them munchers die. So this way Warlocks can be very effective at shutting down big armies of munchers, as you're able to just destroy their health very easily and effectively, which then allows the rest of your units to pretty much finish them off. Of course, over here my ally still has base, and here I see that the bike bar tries to attack into my ally's base. So here I send in my meat shield skeletons to try and take the shots of the cannons before I'll be sending in my munchers to take care of these cannons. So pretty much here, kill a lot of cannons, lose very few munchers, and the bike bear kind of loses the rest of his archers here. But of course, they're going to be fighting to the last, trying to do as much economic damage going on to these workers. But eventually, all of them go down. You can see here the blue player making a lot of heads, and the purple player is making a lot of munchers. But of course, if they're unsupported, as in there are no Warlocks to help them out, then they can be easily dealt with power of your own Warlocks, which I have a good amount. And this is maybe like 15 or 20 Warlocks, so it can be extremely powerful. So here I try to remake another base in the middle, because I was kind of running out of gold in my main base. And over here, this is the most annoying part of a flying heads strategy, where you can just run in here, or fly in here, kill a few workers, and then just fly away. You can just keep on harassing the enemy. They're just going to keep on running after you. It's going to be very frustrating. But of course, to deal with this annoying harassment, best way to do it is to poison them, like I did many times before with a Warlock, which allows you to just take care of these heads a little easier. But you can also put a lot of cannons on your buildings. And this way, the cannons can shoot very far if they have vision of the flying heads. But here I tried to rally some archers to take care of this. But in the meantime, I was fighting the purple player here. He kind of lost a lot of munchies here because of Death Cloud and Lifesteal combo ahead here, with my munchers defending me very effectively. So pretty much after losing his whole army, purple player can't really stop me from killing the rest of his units here. And so, can't really save himself. And the blue player was a little busy with his flying heads, so he can really help him. Because blue was busy being annoying here with his heads, and so the purple player does surrender because he couldn't really stop my big army here. But of course here, on the bottom of the map, the black player tried to keep on attacking the white player here best he could, using artillery, and even trying to chop through these trees here to get an easier path into these corner bases. Even black player has some Warlocks, which can be very useful in fighting against big armies of units. And of course here, I'll just breaking a few buildings to get us some extra gold. And I guess rallying the rest of my units to the bottom here to try and deal with the threat of the black player. And of course here, I incorporated a few orc berserkers, which can be auto useful because they do cost only gold, so you can quickly make a lot of them. And of course here, making potions is also very helpful, allowing all these squishy units to stay alive a little longer. So over here, I was somewhat ready to start attacking the black player here. But first, of course, I send in my army of skeletons here to try and, I guess, make some kind of meat shield line. Now I tried my best to send in my army, try and surround the black player, but of course, if you're the one running into a choke point, you have a disadvantage, which is why All of my army died before I could do much. But I do eventually surround the bike player. And I just destroy most of his army. And a good handful of warlocks are running away. But now, the rest of his army here didn't get the opportunity to run away. So that was a little, I guess, inefficient of me to attack like that. But I just have more production and more stuff, so it wasn't a big deal for me as it would be for a bike player who's now gonna have to rebuild way slower because he has 2 barracks and only, I guess, 2 citadels. But I have around 4, around 5 barracks. But I only have 2 citadels. But you can see here how quickly I already rebuilt a huge army of berserkers. And making a lot of warlocks. Even though I did lose a good amount in that engagement. So the gold is somewhat running out. And the only gold left for the bike player is over here. So that's why he was trying to fight in this direction to secure his gold income. But I guess here I decided to attack in the north. Because it'll be a little easier to attack through the blue player's base. Instead of directly fighting the army of warlocks here. But I had a similar amount, so that could have also been an option. But I guess this would be just more cost effective. So at this point, the white player already has a lot of warlocks, even more than a bike player. And I'm destroying the bike player's ally here on top. So that is why he decides to surrender. Just as the blue player is going to surrender as well. Let's see the results. You can see here, mine a good amount of gold, just like Steve Buscemi. He also loves to expand a lot, mine on the gold. But I guess we can see here, I managed to have somewhat efficient fights. So I got a lot of kills. But of course I didn't have 1 or 2 terrible fights against a bike player here. So I did lose a lot of units over here as well. But overall, having a few warlocks can change the tide of battle very heavily. So even if it's just a handful of warlocks, it's very recommended to make a few of them. Anyways, if you liked the video, you can leave a like, leave a comment. If you want to see more videos on Scouring Early Access, then you can subscribe. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.